Hello, you beautiful tubers out there. I'm hoping you are getting this and feeling good and doing right and all the other good jivey stuff. You have to excuse my exhaustion here. Been doing a lot of the covering the Taylorship business trial every day. So, the life of the tubes, the life of the tubes, loving every minute of it. But hey, check this out. This is brand new, breaking right now. Just a moment or two ago. Check it out. Our boy Hunter Biden. You heard of him? Uh, he's got a cool first name. Don't know about the last one. It's not paying off for him. So he had a plea deal, just like you and me. He didn't pay his. He had IRS problems, so he gets to go ahead and just plea out, and doesn't have to. I don't know, have some repercussions for it, like a lot of people would have to. But anyway, he this is huge. It looked a little suspect when it happened. The Justice Department said, "Hey, it's okay, nothing to see here." But now here's how Hunter Biden's unexpected plea deal fell apart, leading to his not guilty plea. This is just hours ago, like an hour from the time I'm recording this. So Hunter Biden's his expected deal for Hunter Biden, son of President Joe Biden, to plead guilty to two federal tax misdemeanors was torpedoed by a federal judge Wednesday over concerns about the broad immunity afforded by prosecutors in the deal, as well as its unique structure. That is some language there. Judges, I love when judges put words that make you ponder and think, oh, this is going to be good. After an hours long hearing that included multiple dramatic court recesses, wow. Hunter Biden pleaded not guilty to the federal charges after Judge Mary Ellen Norica? Let's see, the cell phone family? No, that's Nokia. Anyway, deferred his attempts to plead guilty in a deal that she at times described as potentially unconstitutional and lacking legal precedent. That's why I'm here doing this right now, because this is it's huge. Guys, this is the president of the United States. His son has a plea deal that the judge is saying is potentially unconstitutional, and there's no legal precedent for it. That's that's damning language, y'all. It's damning language. In doing so, she ordered both defense attorneys as well as federal prosecutors to submit more paperwork justifying the legal legitimacy of both the plea deal as well as a separate agreement for prosecutors to dismiss a weapons felony. She also ordered the parties to clarify language that could grant Hunter Biden immunity for potential future prosecution related to his foreign investment and consulting work that has seen him rake in millions of dollars over the past decade. In June, federal prosecutors charged the president's son with two misdemeanor crimes for willfully avoiding to pay taxes on more than 1.5 million in income in 2017 and 2018. 1.5 million. That means they're rich, right? Uh, in court Wednesday, prosecutors said Hunter Biden took in 2.4 million in income in 2017 and 2.1 million in 2018 through Ukrainian energy firm Burisma. Now, see, where have I heard about Ukrainian energy firms before? Was that Hmm. Oh yeah, the president was talking about that. Not the current one. When they got impeached for talking about that. A Chinese development firm, as well as domestic business interests and legal services. Leo Wise, an assistant U.S. attorney, said an accountant prepared Biden's taxes both of those years, but his corporate and personal taxes were not paid. During this period, Hunter Biden made large cash withdrawals and covered other expenses like payments on a Porsche. I wish I could afford one of those. I literally like them. Dressed in a blue suit and flanked by attorneys, the president's son told the court a third party paid the back taxes along with interest and fees pursuant to a personal loan he has not begun to repay. Hunter Biden, 53, also faces a weapons charge for falsely stating he was not addicted to any illicit substance and required federal form he filled out to purchase a gun in Delaware in 2018. Before the hearing, he shook hands with David Wise, the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, who has spent the past 5 years leading the criminal investigation into his finances. Both prosecutors and defense attorneys entered Wednesday's hearing in the federal courthouse in King Street in accord. The expectation was that Hunter Biden would plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax crimes, and prosecutors would recommend the judge a sentence of probation for the charges that carry a maximum of 1 year imprisonment each. And then a separate agreement would see Biden agree to a 2-year plan with similar terms as a probation sentence in return for prosecutors dismissing the gun charge. A rarely charged felony that carries out a maximum of 10 years in prison. Let me tell you what, a 10-year felony, it's a rarely, is a rarely charged felony. You know what? Why do we need more gun laws if we're not charging people for the ones that we already have on the books? That's a weird thought, isn't it? That diversion plan for the gun charge included a provision that gave Hunter Biden immunity for crimes related to both the gun central in the charge, but also his finances that were central to the tax charge. Norica expressed concerns about the portions of both the tax charge plea agreement, the weapon charge diversion plan, and how the 2 separate agreements interact with each other. Yeah, they are 2 totally different felonies. She repeatedly complained that both parties wanted her rubber stamp on the agreements and subjected them to hours of questioning about both documents. It's not good. That's not good for a prosecutor. He messed up. The hearing started to derail when Norica began asking Hunter Biden questions as part of a mostly standardized conversation to ensure the defendant is knowingly and willfully accepting the plea agreement. She asked if Hunter Biden was relying upon promises from federal authorities in accepting the plea agreement. He replied that he was relying upon promises made in the weapons charge diversion agreement. He told the judge he would not be pleading guilty to the tax charges were it not for the existence of the diversion agreement, and that the diversion agreement were invalid. He would not plead guilty. He would not be pleading guilty to the tax charges. Long days, guys, short nights. Words are hard. Norica then centered on the immunity language contained within the diversion agreement, and Hunter Biden acknowledged he was replying to those promises as well. This prompted the judge to ask prosecutors if the plea deal was a package deal with the diversion agreement. Guys, this may be an unpopular opinion here when you hear me talk about this, but it's not really Hunter's fault. From what I'm looking at right now, this is prosecutorial problems. This happens to people all over the spectrum, all over the wealth spectrum, all over the country, from state courts to federal courts, because you know what? It's impossible to fight the man. You can't fight the government. They have such good cases against you. It costs so much. There's very little you can do. Norica then centered on the immunity language contained within the diversion agreement. Hunter Biden acknowledged his replying promises. Okay, so I read that part. Wise assistant U.S. attorney said the plea agreement stands alone. He is saying they are, Norica said to Wise, of the package deal question. This prompted the hearing to grind to a halt, Norica telling the parties to confer among themselves. It's like, hey, you guys don't have your stuff together. Get it together, then tell me what you say. She left the bench, and the attorneys began to discuss. At one point, Wise pointed to a paper on the prosecution's desk, telling Biden's primary attorney, Christopher Clark, "We can't get around this. We will rip it up then," Clark replied. That's awesome. When Norica eventually returned, Clark said they had clarified the situation, and the judge asked Hunter Biden the same question as before. This time, the president's son said he was not relying on any promises made by the diversion agreement and accepting the plea. So all this diversion agreement, remember, every time I say that, it's talking about the gun charge. Matter of fact, I'm going to start calling it the gun charge instead of the diversion agreement. Broad immunity. Norica then turned her attention to what she described as the unique and broad nature of the immunity granted by the gun charge and how it covered issues related to both weapons charges and the tax issues addressed by the plea agreement. She asked Wise, the prosecutor, if he had ever seen an immunity agreement so broad that it encompassed crimes from a different case and whether he could cite prior case law to bolster such an offer. And he replied, no. That's how he said it too. No. Upon questioning from Norika, Wise said the investigation into Hunter Biden is still underway and the immunity agreement would not hypothetically preclude bringing charges against him based on him representing foreign governments. Holy cow, man. That's a lot of charges, dude. Like, you need to change who you're hanging out with, all right, if you're getting these charges. Clark, Biden's defense attorney, stood up and said he disagreed. Then there is no deal, Wise replied. Norika told the men to take 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, you guys still don't have your stuff together. Take another 10 minutes to discuss the disagreement. First, you had to discuss the agreement. Screwed that one up. So now discuss the disagreement. She then returned and Clark clarified the defense agreed the immunity would apply to potential tax and drug crimes from 2014 to 2019, as well as the gun central to the weapons charge. Holy cow, I need an outline here. There's so many things. The judge noted her concern that Hunter Biden wasn't knowingly accepting the plea because the boundaries of the immunity granted were so unclear that the diversion agreement that guarantees immunity may not be worth the paper it is written on. Oh man, a tree died for that paper. She complained that while she had no authority to approve or reject the diversion agreement, terms mandated that she would have to determine whether it had been violated or federal authorities could not hypothetically raise future criminal prosecutions against Hunter Biden. That's a mouthful. She said she feared she would be getting out of her lane and into the constitutional authority given to prosecutors to bring criminal charges. Clark, the defense attorney, noted that politicians surrounding Hunter Biden, raising the concern that future federal prosecutors under a Republican administration may abuse their authority, while a judge could evaluate in neutral fashion whether the breach had occurred. Dude, it's not about politics. It's about equality under the law. The entire package, Enriquez said, threw me into a diversion agreement and took me out of the plea agreement in a way that concerned her. Several times, the judge asked whether prosecutors or defense attorneys had any precedent or authority to support certain provisions of the diversion agreement, and most times they answered no. Yeah, we don't have any authority to do this. After hours of questioning, she asked both sides to submit briefs on why the plea deal's form was appropriate and why the obligations given to her by the diversion agreement were appropriate within legal precedent. She set a deadline of 30 days for those briefs. Oh, man. Like, do you know how bad that is? You do not want a judge to tell you, you know what? You didn't do your homework. You need to redo this and give it back to me. I would like to understand why this is appropriate. Oh my gosh, that is such a imagine a judge and they go, I would like to understand. Because obviously I'm dumb is what you're telling me. Why is it appropriate? Why it would not and why it would not be out of my lane. After that, Hunter Biden pleaded not guilty. Charges remain pending. I know you want to get this over with, and I'm sorry, Norika told Biden, but I want to be careful. Okay, it wouldn't be a news article unless we had last minute Republican intervention. Last minute, there is no such thing as like last minute trial stuff. This stuff's been going on for all. I mean, look, these are charges from 2014. While her rationale for deferring Hunter Biden's plea was separate, Norika briefly addressed the last minute court briefing on behalf of congressional Republicans and a conservative think tank that sought to derail the plea agreement. A lawyer for U.S. Representative Jason Smith, a Missouri Republican. Missouri Republicans, not on behalf of congressional Republicans. On Tuesday, attempted to interject the IRS investigation's testimony into the judge's consideration on the plea agreement. Here's the thing. Were you allowed to submit it? It's not last minute if you have you can still submit stuff to the court. The brief filed by local attorney Ted Catilla on behalf of the congressman argues that Hunter Biden benefited from political interference, which calls into question the propriety of the investigation of the U.S. Attorney's Office. Julian Murray, chair of the Delaware Republican Party, was in the courtroom Wednesday. She filed a separate brief on behalf of the conservative think tank Heritage Foundation, which claims that it offers information that has not and likely will not be presented to the court by either the government or the defendant. I've not had time to review those submissions, the judge said, noting it consists of 900 pages. Hate that stuff, man. The last minute intervention in this case also led to one of the more bizarre subplots. Cases don't have subplots. But anyway, that's okay. Within the case in which one of Hunter Biden's legal team was accused of impersonating a staffer for the attorney representing the congressman in order to have certain documents pulled from the public docket. Oh, that's not a bizarre subplot. That's you can get in big time trouble for that. The issue simmered into an order issued by Norika the night before the hearing demanding an explanation as to why sanctions shouldn't be ordered. Attorneys representing Hunter Biden characterized the issue as a miscommunication. It was not addressed in court. Was like, dude, you know, here's the judge. So you tried to call the other side's attorneys. What? How did this work? What were you doing? You're gonna have stuff taken out of the court record for like your client saying that you or somebody else committing that's like fraud, right? It's holy cow, man. This is a big deal. Y'all, this is a huge case politically and legally. Legally, it has federal law is very hard. Okay, it is I say it's very hard because it's a very dedicated group of attorneys that practice it, and they don't mess around. It's just federal, man. They got their stuff together. But anyway, what do you guys think? What's the deal here? What's happening? I don't know. That's a long article written. This decision came out 2 hours ago. Guys, I love y'all. Please hit that like. Please hit that subscribe. Check out what's going on. And come back and check out my coverage of the Taylorship business case. That's big right now. And if you guys are hearing this months from now, well, God bless you. Thank you for stopping by. Leave a comment. Love you guys. Be good to each other. And Godspeed, everybody.